James, and this is our 88 films reviews. We've been trying to catch up on movies that we haven't watched, and there's quite a few. So we this week, because we've been on annual leave, we've been able to catch up on a few of them. So the first 88 film that we actually watched was from the Vault Collection, number 6, and that was One Dark Night. Now this is a movie which I'd always heard about, but I knew that it kind of lived in VHS obscurity, and I was kind of excited when I seen the 88 films were actually bringing it to Blu-ray. And I mean, I liked everything about it. It sounded good, it looked good on the back. It was a bit of a strange movie. It kind of suffered from something that a lot of slashers in the 80s have. It was almost like at a certain stage they kind of run out of ideas, so what they did is they did the safety net. Let's set it in a college fraternity week where everybody's trying to get into and pledging to be in the fraternities, and it goes wrong. Because how many movies have we seen that happens with?
Yeah,
hundreds of them. So basically that's what happens in this. So you've got the girl who wants, for whatever reason, desperately wants to be part of this fraternity group. They don't like her because she's dating like the lead lassie's ex-boyfriend. And basically her pledge is that she has to go and spend the night in a mausoleum. Then there's a side story which I actually quite liked the opening, to be fair, where there's a guy found dead in the same apartment as like a whole load of teenagers, and there's his daughter finding out a bit more about him, and she's kind of paranoid that he's got some sort of power, like a vampire that sucks energy from people.
Like an electric vampire.
An electric vampire, and she thinks she's got the same thing. So there's also that side story. And like every great slasher film with that exact same storyline, bullies go into the mausoleum to scare the crap out the lassie, and then it goes a bit haywire from there. So what I actually liked about this was, I liked the idea that it was set in a mausoleum, to be fair. I thought that because usually these pledge things to send them into a haunted house, so at least it was in a mausoleum.
Yeah,
they tried something new. Or they'd send them to a mental asylum, which is coming up in our next review. At least this was a little bit different. They set it in a mausoleum. I actually thought the main female that you were kind of rooting for, she was okay. She was believable. I didn't think she was, and sometimes you'd find the lead girl and you actually think she's just as big a bitch as the bullies. But she was actually okay. What I didn't get though was there was actually 3 bullies that picked on her, and the lead one didn't go into the mausoleum. So for me, like, what happens at the end of this movie was I wasn't satisfied because I wanted the main protagonist to die too, but she wasn't in there. So basically the idea is she's stuck in this mausoleum, the 2 girls go in to terrorise her, and then the old man from the beginning, who's like the electric vampire, awakens. Now, this is a really slow movie, not much happens in it at all the whole way through. You're waiting for something to happen. And then the last 10 minutes of the movie basically becomes the movie Life Force. So, in the movie Life Force, there's electric vampires too. But the end scene in that, because I know you've never seen Life Force.
No.
Basically, like, the whole of New York gets blown to bits, and it's almost like a Ghostbusters scene with things flying about and stuff. Again, it's a really slow movie with a massive big payoff, but at least the payoff in that, you're like, wow. With this one, it was almost like you waited the whole movie for kind of nothing. I did actually enjoy the ending. I thought it was quite good. I liked the way the bad girls kind of got squashed to death. And I hope I'm not spoiling too much for people by saying this. But it definitely wasn't worth me waiting all these years to see it. It was okay, but it wasn't amazing. I'm trying to think of a nice thing to end it on. Electric vampires. If you want to see fraternity girls getting killed by an electric vampire, then this is a movie for you. And then we decided to watch Happy Hell Night, which is pretty much the same storyline as the one before. So you've got fraternity group and pledges, and part of their pledge there is to go into a mental institution. So the beginning of this movie is basically it's a bit strange. It's almost kind of like 2 movies in one.
It's like a ghost story, and
Claire's stuffing cheesecake in her face just in case you're wondering why you can't make out what she's actually saying.
I like the idea that the fact that they'd gone into that mental asylum, that they'd awakened this
monster.
Aye, and he
But
is
it's
horrible.
kinda-
There's him. He's horrible looking.
Oh, he's minging. But basically, this storyline is kind of 2 in 1. So you've got... There's actually a really freaky scene in this, which I'll come to, but you've got... By freaky, I don't mean scary, just misplaced. So the beginning of the movie is kind of like these 2 people working in a mental institution, and for whatever reason, the guy's slidey bit in the door open, which is really stupid because they're talking about how he's like this really bad guy, but we forgot to close that over. But then these 2 folk for the fraternity go in, and they're there to take a picture of somebody in a mental institution. It just happens to be him. Somebody gets munched on, and then he escapes. So, but in amongst this, there's a flashback scene where you see 2 people getting introduced to him at the beginning of the mental institution, and then it goes 1960 whatever, I can't remember the date. But it never actually tells you that you've come back to the future. So for all you know, you're actually still back in that past scene. It never actually says now back in present day. I mean, you kind of take a wee bit to suss it. Oh, wait, we're back in present day now. But that scene I always thought was a bit strange.
There is a scene that I liked in this that is probably more true to life than like what most films do. Is that, remember there's a bit where there's a few of them, maybe 3 or 4 of them in the house together, and he was bumping folk off. So what they did was barricaded themselves in a room and they stuck together.
I know,
How many people stick together?
Usually
They
in a
don't.
horror film they all go, let's split up.
But what I liked was, despite the fact that they'd stuck together, they were still getting killed. And
You
I hope
said
that's not a
bumped
spoiler.
off. She said bumped off, by the way, not pumped off, just in case you're wondering. But
I don't think pumped means the same thing in the rest of the world.
well,
I think it's definitely a West of Scotland thing.
well, they were getting bumped off anyway. But there was quite a funny scene in this, and again, hopefully this isn't spoiling anything for MD, where they're all in the same room together, and somehow a girl who was holding hands with another character gets her head completely chopped off and nobody notices. And then they turn around and like push the body and the head falls off.
She
And I'm
has no
thinking-
blood.
But I'm thinking,
No blood, no
how
head.
did nobody... At least, I mean, I think it would take a lot of effort to get somebody's head off personally.
Yeah, man. Come on. Oh man, you've lost a lot of weight. What's different about you? Ah, decapitated. Ah, that makes sense. Well, what, your brain weighs 8 kilos, so I suppose that you lose quite a bit of weight.
The bad guy in this is basically like a priest out killing people he thinks have done bad things. But you know what's really funny? Like, he kills a girl in this. Is actually played by Georgia Fox from CSI, and the whole way through it I kept saying to Claire, I recognise her. Well, not the whole way, until she gets bumped off the way. But she doesn't even get credited in the movie. Because there's like an interview with her on it, and she's like, I don't know why I don't
Is
get
that
credited.
the one that he calls a whore and tries to kill her even though she didn't get any sex?
Well, that was about to say that, because he
That
is
is not
killing
fair.
people for like committing sins, and yet she didn't actually have sex with the guy. She said she basically teased him. She gave him blue balls, but he then sent him out for a condom and did a dash, and he still killed her. So that doesn't make sense, because technically she didn't commit a sin,
I know.
and yet the lassie who did commit a sin and who was cheating on her boyfriend with his brother survived. So total spoilers. So if you're planning to watch this movie, you might want to stop 5 minutes ago. So, but yeah, it was. I think the bad guy was actually pretty good. He was creepy. Every time we seen him, we were like, oh, don't like him.
Oh, he's horrible looking.
He's definitely nightmare worthy. There wasn't anything totally original about this. As I said, pretty much both these movies had the exact same plot line. Only one had an electric vampire and one had a really creepy priest who got his sins completely mixed up. But, I mean, the ending in this movie's a bit nuts, isn't it? Like, the end, I was like, I don't... And then it's got a proper cheat ending. And again, if you don't want to hear it, stop the video now. But, so, like, they kill him. Everybody's saved. And then he's driving the bloody truck. And I'm thinking, what a cheapo ending. It's like the setup for this movie's going to be so well. It's going to have a sequel. He's going to be driving... The sequel's going to be the man who drives the truck and kills people with his scary face. Gets his sins wrong. It just wasn't... It was just a total cop-out, the ending. But,
It was.
you know something, though, what I will say about 88
seen
films,
worse.
because they get a lot of flack, 88 films, because they don't put as much restoration work into stuff as Arrow and Eureka and companies like that. what I will say about them is without 88 films, we wouldn't even get a chance to see some of these movies without paying a fortune for them on VHS. True. What I do like is that they will take a chance on what effectively comes down to not the world's best movies, but and give them a treatment so that you can actually, like a Blu-ray treatment so that you can actually watch them. And I actually enjoy the slasher line, and so far I'm enjoying the 88 Vault line as well. And as much as we've kind of said a lot of negative things about these movies, they were cheesy fun. They're
an easy watch.
Easy watch.
Saturday night. And
what Claire and I have started doing, because we've watched so many slashers and so many horror films recently, is basically we can guess the cannon fodder before it happens, and that's what's fun.
Oh, it was the refrigerator, where there was one guy we hadn't seen throughout the whole film, was suddenly in this one scene just to get mutilated.
So we've started doing that in movies, like we literally know the characters, which are just basically cannon fodder, because they want to kill somebody, but they don't want to kill off the main characters, which is a lot of fun. Try play the game, try and spot the cannon fodder. But anyway, that's our reviews of One Dark Night and Happy Hell Night. I've got 2 more of the slasher collection to watch before we get because we've ordered another 4, but I think 2 of them are pre-orders or 3 of them are pre-orders. So before we get them through, and we still have a couple of the Vault ones to watch. I still need to pick up Street Trash, which I absolutely love. But yeah, I like 88 films. I will stick up for them because at least they take a chance and release some of these mad obscure movies. But yeah, let me know what you thought about Happy Hell Night and One Dark Night. I'm going to put in the description that there is spoilers just so that I don't ruin these movies for anybody. But as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and take care.